One of the fundamental distinctions between communities in Europe and North America compared to communities in other parts of the world is the process of secularization in the developed world that has meant that religious life is less central to the profile of citizens in Europe or North America than it is in Latin America or in Africa or in Asia. And the reason why this becomes a moral issue and a deeply political issue is because of the appearance of south to north migration by the millions that has produced a very large population of Muslims in Europe, for instance, and a very large population of Latin American Roman Catholics in the United States. The Catholic Church has a specific position on migration, which is that the right of family unification is greater than the right of the state to control its border. It's more important that families be reunited than that the national control of entry into a country be respected. The large population of Muslims that now live in Europe, all over Europe, is a product of a migratory flow quite different from that which brought Eastern Central Europeans to the United States, or those from Britain like Andrew Carnegie himself. Very different. And one of the distinctions, I think, is that those who are coming are more centrally self-defined as practicing religious people, people for whom church life matters a great deal. This is true among Latin Americans, Mexicans who come north to the United States, as it is true among Africans who come to Europe or Muslims. And the political problem that this contrast between practicing religion in the migrant community and a secularizing community in the host community can be explosive. In Europe, it is a fundamental challenge to the domain of human rights, which has by and large defined the new Europe since the Second World War and is one of the defining features, I think, of the 21st century. So we have a test now, whether migrants are such as to describe a limit to the regime of human rights that has emerged in most parts of the developed world. And I think the answer is yes. If you want to find out what people think about human rights, ask them what they think about undocumented migrants. Then you'll know. And it isn't just the fact that they cross the borders, it's who they are that makes it difficult for many residents and their political leaders to adopt what might be described as tolerant, accepting, or liberal positions on this. I don't think that we are fully aware of the extent to which our human rights regime is put under the test by migration. I think human rights come before anything else, and certainly come before the sovereignty of the nation state. And my view is that both in Europe and in North America, human rights cannot exist with a regime of close control on migrant communities. In Europe, there's an even worse problem, which is the extent to which the dress of Muslim women constitutes a challenge to the open society of Europe. And in France, and not only in France, the issue of women covering their faces has been taken to be a sign of incompatibility between Muslim identity and European identity. There, I think the same thing has to be said, that a human rights regime has to accept a wide variety of social and cultural practices that look alarming to the natives. Switzerland voted a few years ago to ban minarets, and that struck me as an absurdity, certainly something which makes human rights a phrase with no meaning at all. If you will, the important point here is that religious belief is not static. It's a cultural phenomenon that changes over time. And the way in which we handle the other, the differences that we see, is a test of the degree to which I think both North American and European society has changed since the Second World War.